Hey, it's Squidly. Hiking and backpacking alone. Here are 10 tips and just kind of random thoughts on the subject. So I've mentioned in previous videos that I've been doing this, the hiking and backpacking thing for nearly 30 years. And in that time, I've had hiking partners. I've had people who I could count on to go on hiking trips and backpacking trips, but honestly, about 75% of my trips have been alone. So I guess the first thought on this is that if you're looking at going on solo hiking or backpacking trips, maybe you're looking at a video like this to get ideas on how to do it or whether you should do it, the answer is yes, you totally can and you totally should if that's what you want to do. It's totally doable. That's the first idea on this. As you get started with this, maybe the first question is, why do it? Why go alone? And to me, that's a pretty easy answer, and it's the total independence of it. You can hike whatever style you want to hike. You can backpack whatever way you want to do it. There's no one else that you have to answer to. So you hike at the pace you want to, you stop and eat when you want to eat, you sleep when you want to sleep, you camp where you want to camp, you hike for as long during the day as you want to, you hike in the morning, whether you get up early or you're kind of a late starter. All of that is completely up to you. You don't answer to anyone. So there's total independence in this. And to me, that's just kind of freeing. As you get started with going on solo trips, one of the first things you have to do is assess your own personal risks. And this is going to be a little bit different for everyone. Some of them may be mental, the things that you have to overcome to do it. In my case, they're physical. I've addressed some of this on this channel where I'm diabetic. I have metal parts. I sometimes wear hearing aids, and I have arthritis in my spine and in my shoulder. And so these are just things that I have to assess going into it, knowing that I have these things, and this is something that I'm going to have to be able to manage on the trail and doing physical things so that I don't injure myself or put myself at unnecessary risk. The fourth idea has to do with whether you are introverted or extroverted. And unfortunately, in our society, we've got kind of a mixed up idea of what those things really mean. Being introverted does not mean being timid or being a doormat for people. What the introversion or extroversion really means is, how do you recharge? And if you are an introvert, you recharge by being alone. If you're an extrovert, you recharge by being around people and engaging with others. In my case, I'm an introvert. I recharge by getting off by myself and being alone. That doesn't mean that I'm not outgoing. It doesn't mean that I can't be sociable. And it doesn't mean that I can't be sometimes type A if I have to be. To connect that to hiking and backpacking, I guess the real question is, how okay are you with being alone for some period of time? Just being by yourself. Do you really enjoy your own company? The fifth idea here is that when you get off by yourself, you're going to find that whatever personal demons you have start to wake up. For me, it can be in as little as 24 hours. Whatever personal demons I have, the things that are going on in my life, the things that worry me and trouble me, and looking back at mistakes that I've made and things that I wish I had said, wish I hadn't said or done, all of that sort of wakes up. And being alone gives those things, those demons, a chance to really come alive in your mind. Now, the Backpacker Early Riser deals with this a lot on his channel. And so I would suggest that if you want more on that, go check him out, because he does a really good job, a much better job than I can do describing those things. But go check him out because he is really good at these things. In fact, he's even written a book on it. The fact is, without the distractions of our everyday busy lives and social interactions and all that, those personal demons that are somewhere in your mind all the time have a chance to be heard. And part of going alone means that you need to have some kind of plan to distract yourself from them if it gets to be too much, to look away from them and engage your brain in something besides focusing on those personal demons. Number 6, you can get help with the planning of a trip, but once you're out there, the execution of that plan is entirely yours. You are on your own mostly, unless you encounter somebody else and you can get a second opinion. But if you don't encounter anyone else, it's all on you. And so there's an upside and a downside to that. That is, the upside is you can execute it however you want to. Your timing of it, your time frame, what time of day you get started, when you stop, some things that I've already covered here. So that's the upside. The downside is that if once you're out there, you get confused about something, or you have forgotten kind of what maybe the next step is or where water sources are, and you didn't provide yourself any notes, that's entirely going to be on you. There's no second opinion, like I said, unless you encounter someone else. Number 7, when you first start going on solo trips, go to some place that is familiar. Now, if there is no place that's familiar, there's an easy way for it to become familiar. That is, go to a place, visit it a first time, take a short little day hike, and then the next time you go, take a longer day hike. Go a little bit further. Do an out and back. If there are loops available, try the loop. And then build up toward a full day, starting early in the morning, ending in the evening as the sun is getting ready to set. And build up to that first overnight. Now, how long does this take? I don't know. It'll be a little bit different for everyone, but that's how I started, and I can tell you that it worked out really well, so that by the time I was doing overnight trips by myself, it was really no big deal. Number 8, one of the toughest things on that first solo overnight is sleeping. You're going to hear things during the night that you're not familiar with, that you're not used to. The animals in the wilderness are not like us. They don't bed down at night and sleep all the way through. In fact, as we're getting ready to go to bed, a lot of them are just getting up and getting moving, ready to be active for the night. And so you're going to hear things moving around. In order to be okay with that, one of the best things that we can do is to make ourselves physically and mentally tired. So on that first overnight trip, hike all day. Go as far as you can. Do as many miles as you can, even if part of those miles are out and back, so that you can get tired and it makes sleeping a little bit easier for that night. I remember when I first started doing solo trips, I would lay there at night and I would hear sounds, and I was basically okay with that. The problem is you will hear small sounds that are small things. They may be insects or just a squirrel or a chipmunk or something. But at night, it sounds like 500 pounds of ravenous fur coming to eat you. Number 9, avoid unnecessary risk. Honestly, there's risk in everything we do. Get in your car and just drive down the street to the grocery store. There's risk. So with that in mind, avoid the unnecessary risks. Whenever you come to obstacles, take the easiest way around, under, over, through, to, with, or any other prepositions you can think of. Number 10 is know your gear and double check everything. Double check that you have it. Double check that it's in good working order. And take your gear outside and practice, practice, practice. Know all of the limitations of your gear and know everything that it will do. Know how it works, and get to a point where you can operate everything in the dark if you need to. The more you know that gear, the easier this trip is going to be. Okay, that's 10 tips or thoughts on solo hiking and backpacking. If you have any additional thoughts on it, put those in the comments. Let's have a conversation. And on the way out, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.